Let's get back to it. How did the NYPD's preparing for a possible Trump indictment?
Shimon Prokupez. Shimon, what more can you tell us about the timing regarding the potential indictment, and how is law enforcement preparing for such a potential moment?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different dynamics at play here, Pam. When you think about, you have a former president. Never before in the history of our country have we seen a situation like this. Then you have potential protesters. You have the fact that law enforcement is thinking about what happened on January 6th and what they may have missed back then. And so all of that is factoring into the decision making that's going on here from federal law enforcement to the New York City Police Department, state and other federal agencies who have all been in meetings for the last several days. One of the things that certainly is very concerning was the posting, the social media posting by the former president, sort of calling on his followers to take to the streets, to take action, that he was going to be arrested tomorrow. We're getting indications that that is actually absolutely not true, that the soonest, so the earliest that we could see the president, if he was to be indicted, and we don't know when that would be or if that would even happen, would be next week. That's what law enforcement is working on right now, that his initial court appearance would be next week. So everything and all of that is playing into what law enforcement here is going to be doing in terms of increasing security around the courthouse.
47K watchers are like 3 hours behind on the indictment news, bro. This is old news. Oh, this guy. Read the tweet I sent you. You just had it open. Look at the tweet I sent you. You had it open. Dude, Terrible Posture is trying to get fucking clapped today. It's awesome. Like, what tweets has he sent me? Ed Krasenstein. Like, I know that, like, he's supposed to be indicted tomorrow. I know. But that doesn't stop you from being a petulant, annoying, pestering little fucking lib, okay? Sending me William Legate and Ed Krasenstein fucking tweets. Like, dude, you have to look at this Ed Krasenstein tweet. The only time you should be sending that to me, okay, which, by the way, spoiler alert, why the fuck are you spoiling what's going to happen in the rest of the fucking broadcast? What's next? Are you going to talk about the top of the hour ad break coming exactly on the dot at 3 p.m.? Huh? Is that what you're going to spoil next? Are you going to spoil that if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe? What's up? You want me to give you the stream key? You can continue streaming? Huh? Is that what you want? Because at the top of the hour, there is a 3-minute ad break. And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or for free. You can also get gifted a sub. Is that what you want? Is that what you want me to say? You want to say that for me? Terrible Posture? Dude, you're just tracking the indictment and watching CNN. Wait, don't defend this. Come on. I mean, I'm lightly ribbing, but like, don't defend this by being like, dude, like Ed Krasenstein is the same valuable resource for news, breaking news coverage as like CNN. Oh, come on. Like that's, come on, dude. It's, this guy said no, actually. Anyway. 1010, by the way. Refresh again. Cy Nidlin, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. And Tink, thank you for the 5 gifted subs, allowing 15 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Before I forget, I should run that ad break right now. The only Krasenstein brother whose opinion I care about is Ken Lippenstein, the third Krasenstein. Rainy draws a lot. Thank you for the 20 gifted subs, allowing 20 people to no longer see the ads. All right, let's continue. Oh, here it is. Breaking. Trump to be indicted on felony charges tomorrow. Secret Service surrendering Trump to police next week. Yeah, I know. Fucking spoiled it.
Bringing in barricades.
Are you happy?
Bringing in more cameras. And, of course, bringing in the former president into the courthouse. That is the number one priority for the Secret Service, to ensure his security and that and sort of his arrival here at the courthouse, which could happen next week now. So a lot still at play as law enforcement tries to figure out the logistics of all of this and protecting the former president and obviously anybody who comes out here, and the court staff and the people who live around here and work around here, Pam.
All right, so stay with us, Shimon, because I want to bring in CNN senior law enforcement analyst Andrew McCabe, a former FBI deputy director. So, Andrew, as we mentioned, over the weekend, the former president called for protests ahead of a possible indictment. What is law enforcement bracing for if he is charged?
Well, Pam, I think if you're a security professional, a law enforcement professional, you have to begin by assuming that the president still has the same sort of sway and influence over his supporters that he did leading into January 6th. So they are taking.
I think we can all agree that this has been a bit of a dud, okay? Been a bit of a dud. The hogs are not hogging. They're not honking. They're not honking. It seems like they're honk shoeing and me-me-meing, as a matter of fact, which is very sad. Sad to see. Did not expect it. Wanted to see more. Don't like the form that they're showing today, okay? I put a fucking suit on for this shit, dude. This is tight. It's a tight-ass suit. Now, I know I look good, but I was expecting some motherfucking anger. Very sad to see. Now, tomorrow is actually where Donald Trump's going to get arrested. So maybe then, just maybe, we'll see some action from them. But it's kind of fucked up so far.
Before January 6th, I'm sure they're looking very closely at social media. They're trying to understand if there's chatter out there online in those places where the former president's most extreme adherents go to exchange messages and things like that. I would expect that my former colleagues at the FBI are speaking to their sources of information and informants in those communities to tap into what sort of interest there is in convening in New York or any other place around a potential arraignment and charges. And New York is relying on their deep experience in crowd control. There's no place in the country that does it better than New York City. I'm confident that they'll be well prepared. They'll take whatever steps are necessary to avoid what we saw happen on January 6th.
Do you think, though, Andy, that he still has the influence to mobilize far-right supporters like he did on January 6th?
I think you have to assume that he does. I mean, this is a very different sort of event. I mean, the lead up to January 6th, the president and his supporters had many days to talk about coming to D.C. There was a date certain that they needed to be there. That all facilitates organization and transportation and funding for people who want to.
Oh, this is a huge point.
They also had the
actually, this is okay. All jokes aside, I forgot. This is a huge point. A lot of right-wing protests, like an unimaginable amount of right-wing protests, is actually astroturfed. Oh my God. I'm having a come to Jesus moment. They didn't fucking astroturf this shit because the Republican Party doesn't give a fuck about Donald Trump. That's it. And the reason why there's like actual leftists over there is because leftists, jobless, broke, love protesting. Okay? They do. They actually protest all the fucking time. And they don't have like a astroturf. I mean, sometimes they might have astroturf protests, let's be real. But in many instances, they're not like backed by the infrastructure of the party, because a lot of leftist protests, it goes against the Democratic Party. That's why it's always funny when someone goes, oh, look at this anarchist sign. And then right next to it, they're saying vote for Joe Biden. It's like, that's idiotic. I think one part of it, or the main part of it, I'm thinking right now, the main part of it is definitely because January 6th actually created some genuine fear in the minds of a lot of people who thought they had a sense of entitlement, who thought the government is, of course, supposed to work for them. But I think another part of the reason is actually because a lot of these protests were astroturfed. And for those of you who don't know what astroturfing is, it's the opposite of grassroots. So grassroots funding or a grassroots protest means a protest that was genuinely put together by people, right? By a group of people who got together and said, we are like-minded on this issue. We need to go out and do something about it, you know? An astroturf movement, on the other hand, is like a subsidiary group or like a 501c4, pays agitators and protesters, or pays Turning Point USA, as a matter of fact, to bus a bunch of people into January 6th to the Capitol. That's precisely what Charlie Kirk did, as a matter of fact. If you remember, on January 6th, Charlie Kirk tweeted about how many buses he sent to the Capitol and then deleted that tweet subsequently. So that's the thing. I think that because the Republican Party infrastructure is not really interested in defending Donald Trump all that much, that they are not really putting any kind of like astroturfing support behind it. And that's why you're seeing some of the only psychotic weirdos that are genuinely behind Donald Trump go out there and put their lives on the line, I guess, in their opinion. They're putting their lives on the line. They're fighting against the police if it gets to that. Yeah. It's very interesting to think about. Because for people who are saying, was January 6th astroturf? Of course, dude. So much of January 6th was still absolutely pushed, facilitated by Turning Point USA and other conservative groups like that, shipping people, busing people, helping people with logistics to get over to a certain place. Obviously, left-wing groups try to put that shit together too, but they're not funded by billionaires in the same way that TPUSA is. Right? Like the DSA LA right now is fundraising for strikes that are happening. Currently, as we are speaking about this, the LA United School District is not in session. And the reason for why they're not in session is because the teachers, alongside with the staff members, have decided to do a strike, execute a strike, because not the teachers themselves, who do have a separate contract bargaining happening on the side, but the staff members themselves are not getting a fair shake. So while that strike is happening, there's needs for food and other kinds of necessities, which, by the way, I am funding as well. I'm working with DSA on that. But so there are, and I'm also planning on going to one of the picket lines, but unfortunately they do it before the stream starts. That's a whole different can of worms. We'll get to that in a little bit when I'm actually talking about the issue. But basically, like, that is grassroots funded because the DSA is not backed by like billionaires, right? It's backed by everyday people who are, it's backed by everyday people who are giving money to the DSA for the DSA to distribute it to, in the form of a fundraiser, give it to the striking teachers. So that would be grassroots versus astroturfed. So sometimes even a grassroots movement could potentially like fund the logistics. Okay, DSA LA leadership is racist. DSA LA have ignored black voices and ostracized them. Well, my friend, I would like to explain to you that I myself am a racist as well. I'm a racist guy. I only care about black liberation in the form of reparations, and also only care about black liberation in the form of allowing black working class people to have a life of dignity. So just, you know what it is. I am a racist guy who believes that, not only do black people deserve reparations, but also, I'm not saying you're racist. I just want to let you know, I don't care. You're a fucking wrecker, dude. Shut the fuck up. I'm talking about how a viable socialist formation is literally helping out not only white teachers, but black teachers as well. And you're trying to fucking wreck it. Suck my fucking cock. I don't give a fuck about your fucking dumbass perspective, you dumb motherfucker. All you do is chirp, suck my dick, become a fucking hater. I'm telling you, I'm a racist already. You might as well clip this and become a permanent fucking hater of mine. I'm done. I can't be charitable to you dumb motherfuckers. Don't fucking bruh me. Don't. You know what you're doing. Do you work for the fucking CIA? Do you work for the State Department? Is your goal to undermine the efforts to fund a fucking strike fund? Because if it's not, then shut your stupid fucking mouth. Shut it. Why did you bring it up then? If it's old DSA drama, why did you bring it up right now? Don't do that. There is no need for the CIA or the FBI. There's no need for capital owners to like create strike breakers. There's no need to beat anyone any longer. Because we do it to ourselves all the fucking time with this nonsensical sectarian infighting. Half the time it's just fucking bullshit. Shut the fuck up. And chat, don't fucking dogpile on that guy just because he's a fucking idiot right now. Notice how much more angry I get towards rad libs in the fucking left. Because that is still fundamentally standing in front of solidarity. Let's continue with how the NYPD is preparing for a possible Trump indictment. You want to see solidarity? There's your solidarity. The NYPD fucking loves Donald Trump, okay? They do. They endorsed him. They are in positions of power, and they love powerful people, and they will defend them at all costs. They don't give a fuck about sectarian, nonsensical bullshit.
Cover, if you will, of a legitimate, permitted assembly at the ellipse. So those are all things that don't really add into the mix here, which I think puts law enforcement and security professionals in a little better position, but they have to plan for the worst. That's their job.
There's so many questions, Shimon, that we're asking for the first time because of the unprecedented nature at play here. If this happens, is there any word in terms of logistics on how Donald Trump would appear in the courtroom if he is indicted?
Everyone expects him to appear here like any other defendant, right? So the Manhattan DA's office, when there's an indictment, they then notify the defense attorneys for the defendant, for the person who's going to be arrested, and that a person appears at the district attorney's office, which is just behind me, where they are processed, fingerprinted, photographed, and then they're brought over to the courthouse. Usually, the Manhattan DA's office, you know, they walk the defendant through the halls of the courthouse into the courtroom for all of us to see handcuffed. We don't think that's going to happen here, you know, for many reasons. But we certainly do expect that he'll be here. But I do just want to know one thing, Pam, that in terms of social media postings and threats, I actually spoke to a law enforcement official today who said they're seeing actually that things are pretty quiet on social media. Nothing like to the run-up on January 6th. They've been running down things. They've been sort of questioning people who are posting suspicious things.
I want to apologize to the chatter. Maybe he didn't fucking know what he was doing. Okay, I'm sorry for popping off. It just like incredibly frustrating. Okay, I just hope that people don't do that.
But so far, from everything that they're seeing, while there may be a lot of noise, there's not a lot of concern for them right now. Biggest concern is getting the former president here safely, and that is something that they're certainly working on.
All right, Shimon Prokupecz, Andrew McCabe, thank you so much.